And my friends, the issue of Obama's presidency. Another month. Today, BP's oil executives have now come out and said they're now trying to put a hard cap on the well to contain the leakage of oil that is now literally seeping millions of gallons, millions of barrels across the entire Gulf Coast, but it's going to take about a month to fully cap it and clean up the oil spill. Maybe. It may even take a few more months. But at a minimum, another month. That means, my friends, that this crisis is going to go on at least until the middle of July. That means more fishes will be killed. More crabs, shrimps, and precious fish in the sea are going to be lost. More wetlands will be decimated. More shorelines will be destroyed. More jobs will be lost. More livelihoods will be destroyed. My friends, this crisis is going on and on and on. And with it, Obama's poll numbers are now dropping like a stone. At this point in his presidency, his approval ratings are now lower than that of George Bush's when he was in office after his first 18 months. The signals are clear. This presidency is now going down in flames. That black sludge that is seeping all over the Gulf of Mexico is not only destroying the Gulf Coast, it is not only darkening the Gulf of Mexico, it is now seeping into Obama's presidency himself. Like a cancer, it is now destroying him and his party from within. And what is most shocking, my friends, what to me is most unforgivable, and where I have now repeatedly said, and I will say it again, I am now issuing a challenge to any liberal in this country, especially those in the so-called mainstream media. All of you at the Washington Post, all of you at the New York Times, hey, softball, Chris Matthews, hey, softball, you've been ducking me now for over a year. I'll go any place, any time to debate you on this. Why has the president not mobilized the full resources of the government and the military to contain and clean up the spill? Maybe you can't plug it, but don't tell me you don't have the capacity and the capability to clean it up. You know why? Because I have the damning evidence right here. The governor of Louisiana, Republican Bobby Jindal, has now been running around for days, not asking, begging the Coast Guard and the federal government, we have the equipment to clean up and contain this spill. There is now literally new equipment. They're oil vacuums where ships go and suck up the oil and then channel it onto tankers, where if we deployed them, they could clean up much of the oil. Jindal has been saying, let's put in island barges, sand barriers, to prevent the oil from coming onto the shorelines. Let's use more booms. In other words, use every defensive instrument possible to erect obstacles to prevent the oil from destroying the shorelines, to stop it from destroying the marshes, the wetlands, the beaches, the businesses and homes and livelihoods of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people in the Gulf. In other words, declare a state of emergency and a war upon this oil. These are our Americans. These are our fishermen. These are our people who are suffering. They are being left out to dry as our dear leader goes from concert to concert, from Paul McCartney to Lionel Richie. Now he sent off Joe Biden to go to South Africa to watch the World Cup. That's the big priority now. Watch these guys kick a little ball around the soccer field as people are literally fighting for their very livelihoods in the Gulf of Mexico. And here, you think I'm making this up? Here is Anderson Cooper of CNN. Now, you know when a leftist hack, that consummate metrosexual, Anderson Cooper, you want to talk about an effete liberal if there ever was one. There's Anderson Cooper with his well-groomed hair and all of his facials, with his little manicures and pedicures. He's got by the way, the sexiest hands in the business. I'll give that to Anderson Cooper. Immaculate hands. There's not a woman out there that has better hands than this guy, better nails than this guy. But even him, with his little nails, with his little manicures, he goes down to the Gulf of Mexico. You see, unlike the dear leader, who will come down for 3 hours and roll up his sleeves for the cameras. Oh, he's rolling up his sleeves. And then runs off to play golf for 5 hours. Anderson Cooper's actually been there for a couple of days. And when you're there for a couple of days, you hear Bobby Jindal. And Bobby Jindal keeps saying, we have all of this new oil vacuuming equipment. It was experimented on. It works. Can we deploy it? The Coast Guard has it. We have it here in this country. We can bring it also from around the world. Let's deploy dozens of these oil vacuuming projects and start sucking up and cleaning up all this oil before it gets to the shore and does permanent damage. Here is Anderson Cooper, along with Bobby Jindal, laying out the solutions to containing the spill. Ray, roll clip 1, baby.
On East Grand Terre Island, a simple and seemingly successful experiment in cleaning up crude. A rudimentary vacuum which sucks up oil on the surface of water and sends it to a container on a nearby barge. You would think dozens of vacuums like this have been deployed all over Louisiana for weeks, but they haven't. In fact, there are only a handful being used, and they've only been running for a couple of days.
So there you have it. We have oil vacuuming equipment that can start sucking up this oil, putting it on tankers, putting it on barges, in other words, getting it out of the water, and they're not being used. So now Anderson Cooper asks Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal, do you think this is effective? And Jindal says, not only do I think it's effective, I've been begging for this for weeks. Why hasn't it been deployed? Ray, roll clip 2, baby.
When you see this, what do you think?
This is exactly how we need to be fighting this oil.
So this is how we should be fighting this oil. Where is it? So then, again, Cooper says, so now Jindal has been using whatever few oil vacuuming projects he has, but he needs to bring in the National Guard. So Jindal is now he's like a foreman. He's almost like a construction foreman. He's now ordering the few oil vacuuming projects they have, bringing in the National Guard and saying, let's throw everything we have at it. Ray, roll clip 3, baby.
Governor Bobby Jindal and local officials are so fed up waiting for BP to clean up oil that they've gone ahead and are testing a few of these vacuums with the help of the National Guard.
And now, here is what Bobby Jindal says. This oil vacuuming equipment has been created in Louisiana through good old-fashioned American ingenuity. He calls it Cajun ingenuity. In other words, American self-reliance, American individualism, American entrepreneurship contains the keys to containing this spill and averting an ecological and economic catastrophe. Here is Bobby Jindal, in his own words, saying, you know what, we can use this and we need multiple lines of defense. We're in a war here. Mr. President, where are you?